Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is, baby. Get your drink, pull up. I've got mine. And it's so delicious. I want to tell you about some stuff that I'm seeing when it comes to food, processed food, stuff in our food. How do you battle that? How do you protect your family as far as your health, your overall health, and bad things happening to you? And also in line with learning how to provide for ourselves, learning how to teach ourselves the skill sets to be able to make our own food, right? Cook good quality, real food as far as real ingredients. And it's not like those ingredients aren't real. I'm talking about wholesome, whole food type ingredients, taking it back a step and slowing down and figuring out how we're going to battle this. Because there's a lot of stuff and things that we are eating and that we buy. And I'm seeing a lot of videos pop up about this stuff. So some of you might have seen on the internet, for example, there's a video of Pam, the spray, and it has essentially it has butane in it. And here this is a product. It's a spray product that folks would use to just merely put a basic coat of oil on a pan to just cook some food. Ideally, it has this whole sense of that it is a healthier option than just pouring oil into a pan, because this is so much less, but you still get the effect, right? And it's a product that people have used for a very long time, but it's dangerous, right? And you have these videos popping up of people literally taking lighters, taking Pam, and it's lighting, right? And we are literally ingesting that stuff, putting that stuff in our bodies. And I know some of you track this stuff, and for some of you watching are going to be like, what? That's crazy. I don't think stuff like that's happening, but people are physically showing you on videos, right? I'm not really that type of channel to just show you. But people are listing the ingredients. There's clearly butane in there, a small amount. And if you read anything from the company or whatever, it's this sense of, yes, there's a little bit of this product. It's needed for this, right? Whatever. But yeah, you could take a lighter and fire it, and it's a big flame, right? But the good news is there's other products that you can research that doesn't have that ingredient in it. I don't have any Pam here to show you to read off the ingredient, but essentially it's a butane product. It's a butane propane product. So you need to pay attention to the sprays, what they have in them, and do they have this product, and maybe make sure that because there is stuff that does not have this stuff in it. I think that we have to be careful with stuff that says organic, or it has some sort of indication that it is a healthier option, or it is a less preserved option, or it's a less option where it's not going to have something in it that we believe other stuff has, maybe more medicines, more vaccines, things like that. I saw an article the other day from one of my subscribers. I'm not sure if it was just a normal subscriber or that emailed it to me, or if it was a patron from Patreon, but sent me an article, about finding out that organic animals that are there merely to produce food, produce whatever the product is, and in an organic fashion, right? Those animals are still max vaccinated, right? So do not think just because something says organic and that there's nothing in it, right? They could take that, first of all, if it's an actual meat product, the actual animal itself, that's bad. Those vaccinations are in there. Or if you take a product from it, a milk, and you make cheese from it, or milk, or whatever, right? Whatever the product is, trust and believe that just because something says organic doesn't mean that it doesn't have stuff or it hasn't been compromised, right? With fruits, fresh fruits and vegetables, organic mostly means, okay, it hasn't been sprayed with some of the typical preservatives that maybe other fruit has. But this is like really important, especially for people that stockpile. If you're stockpiling food, you're doing the things, you're stockpiling, you're gardening, you're, preserving food, you're doing all these things. But we really have to take a step back and think about what it is that we're actually stockpiling, right? Come to find out, Coffee Mate, same thing. It has some stuff in it that makes it highly flammable, the powder kind. And again, saw a bunch of videos the other day of people pouring it out in their sinks with a lighter, and it's just huge flames, right? For Coffee Mate, for the powder kind. So, it comes to, okay, what is in that product that makes it do that? What is that doing to our bodies? A lot of people drink coffee. Hello. And so it makes you think of all your preps and the different things you have. And we have creamer, and we do have Coffee Mate creamer. We have a bunch of different kinds because I like to stockpile, I like to have options. I like to do a lot of different things. But, you got to take a look at, we just stockpile for years and years. And a lot of this stuff is not necessarily good for us. Stuff has preservatives and extra additives and different things in it. Now, a lot of that stuff is to make it last, meaning it takes a long time. It has to be processed, meaning pulled up from the ground. Then it has to make some sort of transit. Then it has to make it through the whole distribution, set up, pulled apart, made into whatever product is going to be. Then it's got to be packaged, all this stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff that's added to stuff, in an innocent way, if you will, meaning it's put on it on purpose to a lot of fruits to keep it from continuing to grow and continuing to work through its cycle, right? And it will last longer, on the shelf, right? And in the grocery store by the time it makes it, because that cycle of by the time it's been harvested all the way out is a very long time. But you have to be careful. You've got to start looking at packages. What is in stuff? What can you take that is your favorite thing, and can you make it yourself with way less ingredients? It's like folks getting back to making bread. Regular bread, you think it's very simple. It's got like 14 to 20 different, ingredients in it, right? When bread, as we know, can take anywhere from 3 to basically 5 or 6 things, right? Depending on what you're doing, right? What kind of bread you're making, whatever, right? So we've got to just really get smart about a couple things. One, trying to see what it is in our lives that we have that is dangerous, that is possibly posing a threat, that is just not good stuff, putting it into our bodies, and how can you eliminate that stuff, and either completely eliminate it or eliminate it but provide a replacement that you've either learned how to make, a different replacement that has way less ingredients and doesn't have a lot of the preservatives and the extra stuff that is needed to make it last longer or stay fresher longer, or whatever the case may be. And you have to think big, your stockpile of stuff, right? If you have a certain product and you turn around and you actually look at the can and all the stuff's in it, and you start to see something you don't like, and you have cases and cases of that, that's not good. That's why I think that it is very important to stockpile. And this is where I'm shifting my own family, is I'm shifting to the thought process of we stockpile, not food in general, just this can of this, but stockpiling the ingredients so that later you could then make your own stuff, right? It's just like pressure canning and preserving food. You make the product most of the time. You're taking fresh ingredients. You're taking whole ingredients. You're putting it together. Let's say it's chili. You're taking whole ingredients. You're making it. You're making the chili from scratch. So you know what is going into it. You know exactly what seasonings you use, what fats, what meats. You know exactly what you put in there because you put whole foods in there. And you made it, and then you preserved it. Put it on the shelf stable, 4 years, okay? So we have to get to that, the food preserving part, but also prepping and stockpiling. Let's say I want to make chili in the future, the whole products, whole beans. How am I getting meat? Am I raising the meat? Is it pressure can meat? How, am I buying it from a local person, right? Seasonings. There's 1,001 seasonings, and we do not need all these seasonings. You probably get away lifetime on your hands seasonings. And that's lifetime. That means there's some seasonings in there that are part of that that are not every day. You're not using them every day, but maybe they're a very important season that, you know, overall you do use in quite a bit of your cooking or quite a bit of your meals. I'll give you an example. Curry. Curry for my family is not something that is in every single meal, you know, like salt or pepper or maybe garlic powder, right? But curry, I do use curry in a lot of recipes. We absolutely love curry for the properties and the seasonings that are in it, okay? And medicinally, I love to keep curry in my preps. That's a must-have seasoning for me. But that's what I'm saying. On two hands, you don't need all this extra stuff. And all the green, if you will, seasonings, grow that. Grow those seasonings. Have that fresh stuff. Grow the basil. Grow the oregano. Grow all that stuff, the parsley. Grow that stuff and have it fresh. And then obviously if you're trying to make it shelf stable, wow, I can't talk. You know, you'll dehydrate some down and either keep it in that form, or you'll take it even further down to a powder and a more seasonal type thing, right? Maybe even experiment with some of those ones on two hands, right? And experiment putting them together so that you can come up with a blend. Maybe you want a nice salt, pepper, garlic. You want to make your own kind of garlic salt blend, right? Maybe you want to have your own Slap Your Mama blend. If you turn Slap Your Mama over, it's like 4 ingredients, you guys, 4 seasonings, and they're everyday seasonings. They're not some crazy concoction. There's not crazy other ingredients in it. It's basic seasonings, right? Right here, you guys, you can do with 10 or less in your whole lifetime, okay? And stockpiling the ingredients, your sugars, your salts, right? Your flours, your beans, your rice, your meats, right? Your starches, your fats, but as a whole of that whole food. And then you're going to, that's how you're going to cook. That's how I plan to cook. That's how I cook now. If you are a cook, you cook with whole ingredients, whole foods. You put it together. You know exactly what's in it. You know the sodium level. You know everything. And there is so much in all of our foods. You know, a lot of people will be like, yeah, there's so much sodium, but they don't really talk about all the other stuff that it could be in our food that's not healthy for us. And so start eliminating. Start taking your favorite thing. I just talked to my kiddo today about Cheez-Its and how it has all these ingredients. And I said, you know what? I've seen some videos of people making Cheez-Its. We should try to make our own Cheez-Its. And so I'm going to look up some videos. I'm going to look up some recipes, and me and the kiddo are going to figure out how to do Cheez-Its. And then we're going to merely just see if we can start eliminating that. And then from there, and see how I just incorporated my child and how that could keep going. You take their next biggest snack and you see about doing it, right? It's like when I make taco soup. I make my taco soup, and the kiddos and hubby love the little crunchies that are on the top of the taco soup that they can put. And it's like, it's merely tortillas that I have cut up and I have fried and I put a little bit of salt on, right? And you can buy those in the store, right? But if you buy them, you really have to look. There's other additives, there's other things in there. Are there products that brag, hey, this is just whole foods? There is definitely stuff on the market that just, like, let's say something that has an additive like a cracker or something like that, and has the least amount of ingredients, and it's the least, yes. But that's my point. You have to be proactive in looking at the packaging and looking at the ingredients and really understanding, because none of us are a genius. None of us, I don't know about you, but I don't know what half the crap is on the box. So a main rule is, if you don't know what it is from GP, it's not a whole food. It's not a food, right? It's something. It's a chemical. It's a process. It's a preservative. It's a this. It's a that, right? You just really, really have to pay attention to our packaging and things like that, and figuring out how you can eliminate. I tried a thing today with kiddo. He watched me where I was like, maybe I could eliminate creamer. I've seen all these videos where folks take coffee and they put butter in it. And I was like, there's tons of videos on this. And I was like, I wonder what it tastes like. Is it good? Could give you another option to not use creamer, right? Okay, let me try it. the most disgusting thing I ever, because I'm thinking long term, like I can always get butter. If you have an animal, they can give you milk, therefore you can make butter. You can get to the butter, right? And I'm like, okay, and that's the plan one day, right? So the idea is whole foods and setting up your whole foods and your food around you to where you'll always be able to renewable, have your own sources, right? And I'm like, okay, butter. It was rough. You guys, I drink it with creamer. I absolutely can drink it black if I have to. If I have a choice, I'm not going to drink it black. But if like I'm in the field or I have to stay up, I have a watch, I have something I have to do, I'll drink black coffee. I won't gulp it and really drink it like I do this, but I'll sip on it, right? I'll sip on it so I can get that caffeine effect and still get what I want out of the coffee, right? But let me tell you, absolutely disgusting. So I know now I need to come up with another option. A beautiful sister of mine shared for Rebel canning, some stuff. There's Rebel recipes out there for canning milk and canning creamer. And she's like, you could take creamer, right? And you could take, basic heavy cream, and you could add a flavoring agent, syrup of some sort, the different syrups for coffee flavoring, and make you some creamer and then can it. And this is Rebel canning. So for you that are canners, like, you can't do that. I hear you, okay? My point is we have to think outside the box and long term, what will we do when there's no grocery stores? What are the things that we love? What are the snacks we love? What is the food? And turning stockpiling into, instead of just stockpiling a bunch of cans and a bunch of food and a bunch of preserved food, and I'm not saying don't do that, because trust me, I have our cans of food with the preserved soups and the preserved chilies and the preserved, ravioli and all that stuff, right? But trying to shift to where you make that stuff yourself, so you know exactly what's in it. You make it shelf stable, so you preserve it, get on the shelf, okay? And stockpiling in the way of whole stuff, whole grains, whole meats, beans, rice, the one single ingredients, and concentrating on that. And if you have that, then you're good, because you don't need all this extra. It's almost noise, this extra stuff, extra products, extra ingredients, extra spices, you don't need all of that in your life, right? Not to mention that so much of it has stuff in it that is not probably very good for us. And so it becomes, let's reverse our health cycles. Let's reverse how we're feeling. There's a lot of the country that has high blood pressure, diabetes, is lethargic, doesn't have focus, doesn't have energy. The basic things that a lot of people want in life that are looking for that. And a lot of that has to do with our food, okay? And what we're putting in our bodies. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments your guys' thoughts on this. Stuff you've learned, like if you've learned stuff about like the PAMs and the this and different foods that have stuff in it that's maybe kind of dangerous for us, mention that stuff in the comments. And then people can take that in and do their own research and kind of delve into it themselves and see, and then possibly start eliminating some stuff, okay? I hope you guys have a great day. Wanted to keep this to a shortish video, at least for me, right? And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.